surprise stuff. It's awesome. Before we get started, someone who couldn't be here tonight sent a very special message and just wanted to play that for you before we kick things off.
Hi everyone, I'm sorry I can't be there with you all today. I promise it's not because I'm on a covert mission or stuck behind enemy lines, but if I were, I'd probably be required to say just that, wouldn't I? I wanted to send a heartfelt thank you for watching and supporting the agency. Playing Martian and working with Richard, Jeffrey, Jodie and the entire cast and crew has been a real honor and such a thrill. You're in great hands with these three, just don't interrogate them too hard. Again, thank you all for taking the time to be here. I'll catch you all at the next mission.
That's weird. They told me that he sent the message for me, but he didn't mention my name once, so don't mind that. All right, so I ran into some people backstage and thought, let's bring them out. First one, living legend. When I was young, my mom was playing a movie in my house, An Officer and a Gentleman, and told me, yeah, you can clap for that, and told me, oh, that's your dad. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then when I called her today, I was like, oh, I'm moderating with this gentleman. He said, oh, I'm glad you're having dad and son time. And I still don't know if she was fully joking yet. So that just speaks to her. But ladies and gentlemen, the legend, Richard Gere. Next up, Academy Award nominee, now I can say that. He's just, just the bee's knees around here. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeffrey Wright. And the next one is a queen in her own right. We're only here to worship her. So, genuflect, bow, whatever you gotta do for Jodie Turner-Smith.
She came in last because no one can follow.
Didn't say that. Guys all look amazing. Thank you for coming to this meeting.
You look amazing.
Thank you. I'm trying to keep up with Jodie. My question, I'll start with you, Mr. Gere. You have a career that I've long admired. What I love about this show, some of my favorite roles of yours, it makes me think of movies like Arbitrage, which is one of my gems I love so much of yours. And it was good to see you just like step into a role that felt like anything we would see you do across your career. Why a spy thriller at this point in your career? Why did you want to do this?
I'm still asking myself that question, actually. It was, we talk about this all the time. It comes down to the script, it's the story. And that's the beginning point. Specifically this one, I had seen the French show, the Bordeaux. I think all 5 years, that was kind of date night for me and my wife, watching that, we loved it. And this came my way, and I was kind of leaning towards it because I liked that show. I was skeptical, of course, of doing another version of something that was so good. And I was happy to see that it had found its own language, its own world, and was contemporary and up to date as to the world we're living right now, as much as you can. It's changing so much moment by moment. And it was the character wasn't quite there, frankly. And I talked to them and said, look, you don't need me to do this. You can get someone else to do this. And there's, well, let's just talk. And so we talked a bit, and the writing came up to a level that I felt really good about it. And I was living in Madrid, and this was really easy for me to go to London from Madrid and shoot this show. So it just worked out really well. And the other point was these wonderful actors who were doing this. Jeffrey, a big fan of his, and Michael, and this beautiful lady over here, you know, just stunning presence that she is. But also all the directors that were working on this were all quality people. So it was a pretty easy decision at that point.
Thank you for saying yes. We appreciate it. Great on the show. Mr. Wright, you've spoken about your family having a background in civil service. I wanted to know how that informed your role of Henry and how you use that to, you know, bring that signature intensity we love Jeffrey Wright for so much.
Well, yeah, I mean, I grew up in Washington, D.C. Now more than ever, we need all the love we can muster. Yeah, I grew up in D.C., and my mom was a lawyer for U.S. Customs for 30 some odd years. I was raised by my mother and my aunt. My aunt was when she retired, she was assistant director of nurses at D.C. General Hospital, which was a local hospital, D.C. Municipal Hospital, but federally funded, as are most institutions in D.C. that are local. And so, yeah, I was raised by federal employees, you know. So, first of all, massive respect for what those people do, the culture, the culture that they do it within. I mean, I looked at this character from that perspective, understanding that he was a civil servant who, particularly, I'll say it simply because it's in the air, particularly for a black man who finds himself who would find himself at that level of responsibility inside the national security apparatus. Nobody is doing anybody any favors unless you're a Fox News host or something like that. But aside from that, it really is a meritocracy. And he's someone who takes his job seriously, who's studied, who's experienced, who does it well, and does it, yes, obviously out of there's all the titillation that comes with the power and all of that, but I think he does it as well out of a sense of duty and you know, takes an oath, as do all federal employees, to the Constitution, and he does his job well. And so I wanted in some ways to kind of represent that, and this was obviously, we filmed, we started at the beginning of the summer last year, but yeah, it was very much my portrait anyway of, the civil servant, and someone who should be respected.
Thank you. Jodie Turner-Smith. This role, for me, I feel like is the hint that you can play James Bond one day. This is a strong, badass lady. Feel free to do it. I'm all for this. But is it equal to Michael Fassbender's character? Strong, both intellectually and could probably beat your ass too. But can you talk about just getting the chance to play a character that really pops on screen, that doesn't just rely on being the damsel in distress? She's a leader in this world.
One of the things that attracted me to the character of Samia is how intelligent she is, and just how much she is principled. I mean, she's obviously complicated, which is so human, right? I mean, we might have a strong moral center in one place, and then there might be another area in our life where we sort of make an excuse for a gray area. But that's also something that I liked and was attracted to, the fact that complication, that complexity in her, that conflict. And then I was so excited to be able to know that I was going to be having Michael Fassbender for a scene partner. I mean, I was just like, oh my God. And not only that, but to play a character who, even if she's not physically present in the scene, you know, the work that Michael's doing, Martian is constantly carrying her with him in every scene, to feel her in it, even when she's not being spoken of or not there in her presence. So I thought that was all very interesting, and I mean, you know, to share space with these guys, I mean, it's just such an exciting opportunity, and the writing, like Richard was saying, I mean, it's just great writing, and I think that as an actor, that's something that, you know, it's exciting to know that there is incredible writing, and then also that the proper investment is being made into your show. You know, so you have great writing, you've got money, you've got prestige directors, and you know, it was just like, it's exciting.
So let's talk about the elephant that's not in the room, Michael Fassbender, who isn't here today. So I want to give you, the three of you, an opportunity to say something terrible about him, but also say something nice about what it was like working with him, you know, the fluffy stuff. What is it about Michael Fassbender that makes him kind of a good actor?
Kind of a good actor.
Kind of good. Warm spit. Kind of good. Yeah, look, he's playing a very difficult part here. I mean, it's really fun to do what he's doing, but it's a tricky thing, and not everyone can pull this off, of being unknowable and knowable at the same time. Where there's obviously a lot of damage, but you can't play that for 2 or 3 years. There have to be so many other elements that an audience can see in there, and they're quite often completely contradictory. So you got to be a pretty complex person to play that, and Michael fits that. He's terrific. I got to say something bad about him. He doesn't bathe. He's European. He don't bathe.
Ice baths. Yeah. Ice baths, yeah. It's true. He had an ice bath next to his trailer in the morning. And then he would, you know, work out in the morning and hop in the ice bath, which I would do as well.
I did not do that.
Highly recommended instead of like your morning macchiato. Well, I had those too. But he's like seriously dogged, seriously hardworking, and focused and committed. I mean, he really, you know, he's in, you know, the majority of the scenes, and he takes that responsibility seriously, and he drives the train, and at the same time, it's good fun. You know, great sense of humor. But he's a wonderful. Obviously, he has this intensity about him, this kind of personal intensity and physical intensity. But at the same time, the moments that I was most appreciative about in working with him, the moments of vulnerability, as you described, Richard. There's a scene that we do later in the series, and it's kind of a confrontational scene, and he's just standing there, like kind of like, you know, like hangdog, like, and he just, but it's the willingness to allow that type of openness, you know, to the other partner, you know, when you have, as Richard described as well, this kind of, you know, armor plating around you.
Yeah, it's push-pull going on all the time.
It's really fantastic and super generous. Yeah, wonderful. Look forward to getting back in there at the end of the month and working on this stuff again with him and with everyone else here. Something bad? I gotta say, something. He's not here tonight. Bailed on us. Send us a video. Thank you, Michael. That was lovely.
I'll start with the bad. It's annoying how good he is now. He's so good. I mean, Michael is, I gotta say, he is such a pleasure to work with. He really, I don't know if I have anything to add that's better than what these guys were saying, but it's true that, I think it's always so incredible to be in a scene with someone and you can feel that they're holding space for you and the work, and you know, he's extremely hardworking, as Jeffrey said. I think he's also a really good number one, you know, which I think is quite meaningful when the lead actor also understands the leadership role that comes, the responsibility that comes with being number one on the call sheet, and the way that you have the opportunity and the duty to set the tone. And he sets a tone of positivity and respect and collaboration, and you know, he's just an absolute machine. I mean, he literally, I mean, it's true, he would work out before work. They're like, yeah, Michael's just, he's just working out, he's gonna come down after. I'm like, it's 6 a.m. I also did not partake in that ice bath. He's like, yeah, you spend your time. I'm like, I'm not getting in that. It's freezing. We're in England. It's cold already. And it's 6 a.m. But he's spectacular.
All right, he's perfect.
Yeah.
He walks on water, yeah, blah, 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 blah.
Also, he's just so compelling, okay? I mean, just what you were saying about that push and pull I mean, just even when you're in a scene with him, I mean, it's just like, you're just, and I really have enjoyed watching this show because, you know, the world that Samia is in it's like a little world, and then there's everything else that's happening. And to see like what he was doing with you guys, the scenes the three of you guys have together are some of my favorite things. When the three of you get in a room together and are talking to each other, okay, I'm just like, you know, you're on the edge of your seat. Yeah.
He didn't follow instructions on the question. I guess he's great all the time. Actually, Mike, let's give praise to other people here. Jez and John Henry Butterworth, who wrote and executive produced this show. If you guys ever saw Ford v Ferrari, they're the big, great minds behind that. The story is so dense, and it stresses me out when I was watching the show. I want to know if were you stressed out reading the script, and did you understand it the first time? Because I don't know if you guys feel this way sometimes, but especially in big espionage thrillers, I'm like, I'm not smart enough for this. It really shows my lack of, when I was supposed to do well in school, I didn't. And this is why, because now I don't get spy thrillers, but was the script really that layered when you were reading it?
I remember, I mean, I came in a little late. They had been shooting before I came in. And I started asking a couple of questions about what is going on. And they didn't really know. We said we haven't quite figured that out yet after the first couple of episodes. But and obviously, they're great writers. I mean, this is really quality stuff. Keeping the balance of all these things and keeping the characters honest and still coming up with great dialogue and fun to play. Fun words to say and fun situations. So for an actor, it's falling off the log of working with this kind of material. But it is tricky for sure. And I think some things that they had intuitively figured out but hadn't gotten the details right until they actually wrote the last episodes and pulled it all together.
This was a grueling shoot. It was like 6 months to shoot this season, correct?
Yeah.
And then you're about to go to work in a month to go on season 2.
Yeah, we finished in November, mid-November of last year, on a Thursday in the afternoon. And then later that evening, Thursday evening, we screened the first episode. That was like our premiere.
Oh my God.
It was.
We were looping
that was
the
first.
episodes as we were shooting the next one.
Exactly.
TV.
So they're very good writers, and they're also fast. Because they've written 10 scripts already, which is fine.
And they're really open. They're just open to ideas, and if you got a problem, great, we'll fix it. We'll write something else. How's this? I got another one. How about that? So it's fun for all of us to work with it.
How's the collaboration? Is there anything that you want to see your characters do that they haven't done yet? Do you want to really fight someone, like get a really good scene, or a good, you know,
I want to get out from behind the desk.
some field work.
The boss go back in the field.
Well, I mean, I think the thing that excited me about the premise for this script was, or for this series, was that it was set against the backdrop of the contemporary geopolitical landscape that we're all struggling to survive right now. So it you know, it's drawn directly from headlines. So that was exciting to me. Again, you know, I grew up in DC, so it's like, you know, if you grew up in Hawaii, you know, more than likely you surf. If you grew up in DC, you do politics. It's just like, you know, it's just from the time that you're born. So it's an interest of mine. I studied political science in college. So what I find really exciting is opportunities to kind of blend those two interests, storytelling and things political. And so in that, this was, you know, so specifically in the moment was exciting for me. So as far as what comes next, I mean, it's a real challenge for them. The next season is set, I think, 3 or 4 months after the end of this season. So it's not in this current moment, which obviously reshapes the entire, universe that they exist in to an extent. The culture of the CIA, what are determined to be the major threats from, you know, a U.S. national security standpoint, that's shifted. The internal pressures have shifted. I sent David Glasser, who's producer and amazing, I sent him a text after I read that article in the newspaper. It's like, every employee at this Central Intelligence Agency was sent an email suggesting that, or asking that they resign. This was just a few, I was like, what? I sent him, I was like, holy shit. I mean, so obviously as we go forward, and ideally, you know, we get another season after this, it's going to ask that we address what's happening, in the current environment. Not because we want to necessarily be overtly political, but
I do.
Richard, I'm saying that. I'm trying to be coy about it.
Coy, it's not a time to be coy. No.
I'm suggesting
What
right
are you
now,
suggesting?
with these people, I'm being coy, so when we get in the room, we can blow it out of the water. Because there's some things that I would specifically like to address, particularly the pressures that are being put on federal employees specifically, the disrespect by politicians who I mean, these are working class people who are and I think we could, oh, God damn it, Richard, I think what we do too often I think what we do is we too often conflate politics with governance. And what this story is about is, as I described, the people who are at the engine room of the government. And you only have to visit, a jurisdiction that is governed by failed institutions to understand the importance, the significance of the government of the United States. Go to Haiti right now if you want a diminished government. I mean, so that's, there's obviously a lot that we can explore relative to, to these men and women who make it their business to serve our national interests.
One of the interesting things we were talking about yesterday was that it is the office. This is the London office. And Langley plugs in once in a while. And I don't think it was in the first episode. No. Did it?
Yeah.
Did he come in? Director of the CIA was in the first episode. So obviously I'm protecting my people. And our people is a tribe. We look after each other. We gotta be tough with each other. We gotta be funny with each other. We gotta be top professionals because people die. But it's that big office is a tribe. And things change when Langley calls. I put my suit on. Otherwise, you know, I'm rolled up sleeves and pretending to be a regular Joe in the office. But from my side, as Bosco in this, is that these are my people, I'm taking care of them. And I will be subservient to Langley, but I'm going to take care of my people, for sure. But there are levels of protection, levels of interest, levels of commitments that we're seeing here into the higher levels of the U.S. government. And I think it's a really great springboard for us to explore so many things in our real world in this. And I think these writers are so adept and quick on their feet that I'm sure a lot of this stuff is going to get into all these episodes. Even the ones that are written now, there'll be elements that will be brought in.
We'll be sharing the next scripts on.
Yeah. They're new chairs are there now.
By signal, all of you. Just keep that app open. And you'll be up to speed with everything.
I really want, what I want is scenes with these guys.
Yeah.
That's what I want for myself. It doesn't actually necessarily fit into it because I'm not. Sammy's not a spy. Maybe. But I'm not in the CIA, and but how do I get scenes with these guys? I've been begging Des and John Henry. I'm like, can we just figure it out? Let's work it out. Okay.
Jodie, I'm actually going to give you the final question as we wrap up now. The theme of this show really is your obligation to duty versus personal ambitions. I think that's silent to say.
Personal needs.
Personal, yeah. What does this show say about this? Jeffrey and Richard talked a lot about this, but for you, what does it say about this moment right now to have a show like this in this moment that we can look to and see maybe hope or maybe the end? I don't know, like is there a sense of hope for you as you have worked on the show, as we cover something that's so timely?
Well, I mean, hopelessness, I guess, is a choice. You know, we either give in to despair or we tune in to some of the basic things that life is about. And one of those things, which is a central part of Sammy's journey on the show, and the very thing that we want people to be tuning in for is love, right? And like Jeffrey was talking about, that balance between what we need as people and what we need to do as working professionals, or what our responsibility in the world, and how those things can sometimes conflict, and what does it mean when they do. So, I mean, I don't know, I look at this show as an opportunity to, yes, it's told on the backdrop of some of the geopolitical issues that are affecting our world currently, or that we're seeing unfold, and there is a sense of responsibility to not necessarily answer any questions about how to fix the world, but to be in a conversation, a dialogue, to be living in the question with people, to make something that says that we're thinking critically, and we hope that other people are. But there's also there's love, right? And that's something that we can all understand. It's such a human experience. The desire to feel seen by even one person, and the lengths that we'll go to protect a relationship wherein we feel seen, because it's one of the, I think, most basic things that we want as humans. And it's why, in the face of, if we were all truly hopeless, we would stop falling in love and stop having babies and creating community, but we just can't do that. It's human. And so, I don't know if that answers the question. That's where I'm at.
Thank you.